This is Rod Kusin and Spooman for Risk doing a real quick video. I am so sorry, friends. We are still having and had until just now feedback and could not determine the reason. In our original testing, we didn't get any feedback during the first 3 to 4 minutes and figured, well, that's enough. But that wasn't the case at all. The feedback really didn't begin until after 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden we've got this feedback problem. Well, we solved it. I'm very confident we solved it this time. So, unfortunately, we've got a video out there that had a major problem. We recorded all of the afternoon, and in fact, we have 2 videos out there that have got problems. And I'm not going to post a third, even though it was a really good video. But I'll show you briefly some of the things that we saw take place. Now, we had talked about at the very beginning of the day, looking at this pattern wherein we hit this high, we had a low, and then a lower high, indicating to us the possibility of getting a nice further drop. Now, we looked at the extensions, all right? This high, this low, that lower high, and anticipated a drop down to about this level. Well, it almost made it, and then it turned around at 20 1/4 and started going back up. We also made reference to the support area down here at 23 and the drop off either here or here. Now we thought maybe 19 3/4 would be it. There was another area right in here. That's exactly where it went to. All right, 20 1/4, and then turned right around and started going back up. Now we saw some real good evidence for that in the order flow, and we saw it in the premium as well. And we saw many good instances where the premium complemented the order flow, or the order flow complemented the premium. So let's go back, and this setting needs to change. Let's go back to the beginning of the day, take a look at how that appeared. That's how we had it set. Give it a second. Now let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so we looked at a couple of points in here as the market originally started to drop down. Okay, our first expectation of the low was that it was going to break this level here at 26 because of the low of the premium here. Now we had a pretty big spike down. This was continuing to drop, and then it was just a matter of trying to find evidence that this thing was going to be going even further. And you could see in this first move up that there was just no buying up here, turned right around and then made a rather precipitous drop into the first real low of the morning. We had good divergence on the premium here, and as you can see, we had some buying at each tick except for right in here. Now that didn't look so good. All right, let me expand this out a little bit more. There we go. All right, so this is not looking real strong, all right, right in there. But now we get some buying going on, and we move right up from the band here, this white bar, yellow bar, and there's a white bar descending over here. All right, these are called, and this is a free indicator. I'd recommend getting it. It's a good one. It's a directional band. You can get it at the App Store. I like it. It works pretty well. So we're down here, and we're moving up in the direction of that upper yellow band. And as we do, we drop a little bit, but you can see that really, even though there was a good sized drop in the premium, right, this confirms that that's not really enough. I mean, if this would have been much, much greater selling in here, this thing may have continued on down. But that top, despite the drop in the premium, was not sufficient. Then we get the buying. And so here's how the order flow is complementing the premium again. Sure, we get this drop, but then we get this divergence again. And right up, right back up until we hit this level here. Now, that's a good short. It's a good place to short, but we're not all the way up to this white band yet. But there's good strong evidence of shorting on that bar. And as you're coming in here and you're watching this, you can see, all right, we're going to come down again here. And so we hit that level here, and we've got a lower low on the premium. So now you see how the premium is complementing the order flow. We've got buying over here, but the premium says we should be going lower. All right, and that's exactly what we see happen here. So now we drop into this low. We have a big divergence on the premium, and we start to see this thing move back up. But right in here, shortly after 9 o'clock, there's really not that much. There's really not that much in the way of buying here. This is favoring the sell side because it's slightly toward the yellow. It's not favoring the buy side. So again, despite the divergence in the premium, there's a good indication here that this may be tested. Now, to get a real good picture, before we move any further, let's go back and take a look at a 5 and a 15-minute bar. Looking into the 9 o'clock slot. Okay, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to turn off these indicators so we've got a little bit more to work with. So here we are at that low. Now look at all the selling that's gone on this 5-minute bar. But we do manage to start picking up some movement. but we've got an area of repair right in here. You know, that's just not, there's just no reason to think that this is going to be sustained. We get more buying picking up here, and then the selling really begins to develop. And so we get this secondary drop, and again this messy messy attempt, you know, to get back up here, and it's just not carrying this. There's just way too much selling, way too much unconfirmed buying through each of these ticks. Okay, so as we get up to the high here, where we've got more pronounced aggressive selling, all right, let's take a look at where the premium is right there at around 915. Okay, so by keeping an eye out, you know, on a 5-minute bar, you get a good picture of what's really happening. The market bought that low, but that premium bar is lower than the divergent bar over here. That's classic indication of, you know, this market's coming back down. So the premium has been fairly steady, the threshold level. Well, this is 213. Over here was 227. All right, 227. Okay, so that's the target. 227 here, and we're at 227 here. So that's even. And we have more selling going on, and down we go again. Into the directional bar here. Now we've got a little bit of a divergence there, and we move back up to here. Now when we come down to 21 and a quarter in here, we have another drop in the premium. Now not as much as we had over here, but this was a fairly naked bar. You know, when you look at this time frame, that's pretty naked. And so the premium again is somewhat complementing, although you do have a little bit of divergence in here. We got to take that into consideration. But it should have been a little bit more than this. This is not properly formed. Now we come back down to this point, and we've got buying again. The premium is divergent. This thing is going back up. Okay, now we're going into 10 o'clock here. And we get a drop on the premium again here. We've got good selling going on as well. So now it's somewhat indicative that this is probably going to come down. And that's what you see happen here. And as we drop, we really start to tank. And then finally, close to 10 o'clock, we come back down to our 10 and a quarter level. And we have divergence on the premium, and up we go. So this is pretty significant. In fact, we took a short in there, and in fact got out right at 2025. That was exactly where I expected the market might begin to see some buying, and not so sure we were going to make it all the way down to the POC here. This yellow line is the POC from the previous day. Okay, so we managed to stay within this range, and then finally got some more pronounced buying, and that was good. That was good. This became the low, and of course we didn't know that. We thought we may, you know, come back down. But as we began to really look at these tops here, you know, it just did not look very strong. And we were thinking, you know, we're going to get some volatility in here, and particularly on this bar here. You see how the premium is now complementing, well, really contradicting, I should say, the order flow. Because that drop on the premium is definitely a naked bar. We're at 297, a little bit higher than we were over here. But that's, that's not good. That's not so good. So we're somewhat expecting this thing to come back down. But when you consider all things being equal, which they're not, premium down here at 305, okay? Here's your low, here's your low. Lower low here should be a lower low here. And so this is actually divergent. It's equal to this bar, and it should be lower, but it's not. So to suggest that this is a naked bar, given this level of divergence, was ultimately a wrong call. And the premium, in as much as there is some divergence here, at the same time, the order flow begins to really show you that this market is ready to start heading up. But it has some problems as it goes on. So we come up here, and of course we get a drop in the premium. We come back down, we get another divergence on the premium at this low, comes back up. We're going higher, okay, on the premium, 220, 214. Premium is going higher. So this market should be going higher. And then we get up to this point and we begin to drop again. Let's, okay, we got that drop in the premium, this buying going on, that divergence sends us right back up. And now the premium is even going higher still. So we've got an uptrend going on. So we'll just push this a little bit higher. We had that little drop on the premium, another bar up on the premium. This is going up until we finally reach here at about 1130. We now see another little drop on the premium. Nothing really telltale in here about what's going to happen. We have buying here, but we have divergence here. So once again, what the premium is telling us is a little different than what the order flow is telling us. Premium is saying we should be coming down. Order flow says we're okay. But we come down. Then we come into this level here and we start to head back up. Now it's important, for us to take a look at all of this activity in here. And so we're right into noon, and let's take a look at this 5-minute bar. Okay. And when you look at a 5-minute chart, everything, especially in here, looks pretty stable. And we come up to this point, and you can see right at getting close to noon, we're losing out on this high. Now, it comes down and it drops all the way down here before it starts to head back up. What was going on in here? It's a little hard to see using a 5-minute bar. So we switched over to a 15-minute bar. And we get a much better picture. Okay, so when you look at all of the selling that went in here, all right, at this level, now you got a lot of selling in here too. not so much buying, and I'm surprised it didn't drop lower. But by looking at a 15-minute bar, you can kind of look at where the market is liable to retest. This is very useful information, in my estimation. And in as much as we've got all of this selling going on in here, the fact remains that this market began to move up. Here, this is okay, this is okay, that's okay, that's not okay. Look at this. There's just no buying at that level. And so regardless of the fact that the market continued to move higher, when you look at that level right there, you could see there's a problem. There's a real problem. And you could not see that, all right? It wasn't on the premium, and it really wasn't on the matrix either, but only by way of the order flow could you see that that area was a problem. There shouldn't be, you know, this level has got to get tested. We got to get some buying going on. And so sure enough, we dropped, but we still don't have enough buying in here. not to offset that. Okay, but we're getting very late in the day, and we mentioned that the pattern here was a green day up. We originally thought that we should be hitting the high of the day with a really robust rally prior to 2 o'clock, because the low, as you know, here's your low, a little after 10, okay? So that should shoot us into, you know, about a 2 o'clock high. And here we are, almost at 1 o'clock, and this market, you know, up until 2 o'clock has got a long way to go to reach the high, and it's left all of this behind. So down we come again, and that, you know, that now it's a real question: is this thing going to rally, or is this going to just fizzle completely? But again, the order flow allowed us to see that this pattern, you know, the buying started to creep in here. I see a great reason for retracing this on Monday, but it literally just takes off and almost manages, you know, to get to the early morning high. It fails ultimately, but it at least at the point of the close, you know, it was failing to make it. Now after the closing bell, we did manage to squeak out a new high up there to 34.50. So that was cool. So we did manage to get above that level here and finished up the pattern. Okay, so that's the quick video with hopefully no echo on this. I'm RSKsys Intl, Spoos for